guys, so we have a 2012 Mazda 5 2.4 liter. So today I will be changing the front axles. As you guys can see, this was leaking. Same on this side. So mega shout out to Ken, by the way, for letting me do this. So I'll be replacing the axles, the struts, the front struts, and the rear shocks. So first things first, you'd have to remove this undercover. Just a couple of 10mm and some clips. And so right here, the first thing you want to do is make sure that your parts are correct. So I've already tried to line them up and they seem to be all correct. There's the rear shocks. And next one, I'm gonna open up the shock and then just make sure that I have the left and the right and all the mounting brackets for the link pin and the brake hose lines up. So I'm gonna do that now. Alright, so right here we have the back part which matches to that, and then there's the area where you mount the link pin, and there's that area right there. And as you guys can see, this area right here is the same there, so this should be the right one. So I'm gonna go ahead and start taking it apart. Already pre-lubed. First I gotta remove the axle nut, then I gotta remove this clip right here, and then obviously this link pin, and then this bolt on the back side, and I should be able to remove the strut. Of course there will be 3 bolts up top over there. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this now. The clip and that nut and this bolt. Okay, so it should look like this. So you want to get this connector out of the way, obviously, for the ABS sensor or speed sensor. So right here you just press this tab and pull up and just move it out of the way. And the nut for this was a 14 for the link pin. So yeah, this one sits right there. And this was a 32, I believe. Yeah, 32, 14, and then the back bolt right here was a 17. So now I wanna tap this down, and then this should release. At the same time, this should pull back and then release on this side. Now, if I don't have enough room here, I can unbolt this caliper. Right here is 2 bolts. Just unbolt this and then hang it over here. So like that, guys. These 2 bolts were also 17mm, and you just want to stuff a rag in the middle there so you know the brake pad won't fall off or anything. I mean, it's easy to put it back, but still saves you a step. And then just got it hanging from right here, just so you don't put any stress on the hose. So now, in theory, I'm gonna take a block of wood up here and just hammer it down a little bit, and it should come down, because you want to release it off this. You could also spread this down a little bit, but I don't think I'm gonna need to. So obviously what you do on this side, you're gonna do on the left side as well. So yeah, I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Hang the caliper over here. Alright, so right there, gonna need this. So you just tap this and it should come down. Make sure you lube it pretty good. Okay, so it should look like that. So what I did, the big pry bar, put it across here, and I kind of stand on it while I kind of tapped on this side. So then it slowly released all the way down and through. So now I can pull the axle out, and also I could pull the strut out by just taking off these 3 bolts up top. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna mark somewhere around here. Just, well, actually you don't have to, because there's already a indicator right there on that little pin right there, so it only goes in one way. Alright, it's right there, guys. It's a 14, so I got a wrench on the back side because I can't get that socket in there. So yeah, just need a slim wrench for the back side, and you can just loosen this with a socket. Alright, okay, so they're all the same size bolts, so keep that in mind. So now the strut's out. So at the same time, got so much room to remove the axle. So, but first thing I'm gonna do is swap the struts. So I'm gonna have to take this to the spring compressor and loosen this nut and transfer over the new strut. So again, make sure they're exact the same, and they are. So I'm gonna go set it up in the spring compressor. Okay, so it should look like that. So now I'm gonna put some tension in there, and then I'm gonna release this nut. So this one's a 17. So there they are, guys. So look at this old one. It comes up still, but when you compress it, it makes a noise. Like this new one, it's pretty just resistance when you compress it. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and put it back in here, and then I'm gonna feed it through there. Okay, so new one is in place, so make sure this end lines up right there. Then I'm slowly gonna release this. So it comes with a new nut, so 19 now, so you just wanna sort of hand tight it there a little bit, and then slowly release the spring. Then once it's all settled down, make sure you're wearing eye protection, by the way, on this. So now, once everything's settled down, I'm gonna tighten this all the way in. Now I'm gonna replace the axle. So I'm just gonna take, I'm gonna tap right here. So this should release, and then put the new one on, then put the strut back on this side, on the right side. Alright, just line them up again, and yeah, they look pretty much identical. So I'm gonna put it back in the car now. And so you just want to make sure that the back side is sitting flush right there. So it's a little tight to put it back in. Then you just want to take a rubber mallet and just tap on here. Shouldn't damage anything. So yeah, now I'm ready to put the strut back up and then put this through. Alright, so the axle is in, and line is sitting here already on the knuckle, the strut. So now I want to align the tab on the back side right there. So this to right here. So now I'm gonna jack it up underneath and then give it a lub tap from the back side going up, and it should pop into place, sit nicely, so I could put the bolt through right here to here. That support it underneath. So now it's kind of sitting up, and I guess I'm gonna go on the bottom like this. So I'm just gonna give this some lub taps down here, and it should pop into place. So you want to make sure this is the crucial part where it's lined up right there, and it is. So once I give this a tap, it should just, with all the weight down on it, it should slide up and lock into place. So there it is, guys. It's in place, the bolt is in. So now I want to put back everything together up top. Okay, that's back together. So this is tight. That's tight. The brake caliper 217s are tight. The clip is back in on this one for the brake hose. And already plugged the ABS sensor connector back in. So the last thing for me to do after is torque this. So I'm gonna have to find the specs, and I'll let you guys know once I'm ready to torque it. So the right side is done, onto the left side. It's pretty much gonna be the same procedure except the first part, which I'm gonna show you guys. Here on the left side, I gotta remove this out of the way, and it's just 10 mil. Move the reservoir out of the way, take the bracket off, and then I can access the bolts at the top for the strut mount. And then the rest is pretty much the same thing as the other side. Alright, there, 2/10. This one should just lift up, and then another 2/10, and then this should just come off like that. Just put them both aside like that, and then you can access your 14mm bolts. Alright? Alright guys, so the left side is back together also. New struts, new axles are in. So you'll know when it's bottomed out, like right here, because it'll be sitting on the, there's a little tab right there and sitting on the knuckle. So the brake calipers are both tight. Link pin is secure. ABS sensor is plugged back in. So the brake hose is also back together with the clip. So now just this, I just gotta find the torque spec, and torque this down, and then tap this a little bit here so that it won't turn. Okay guys, I'm ready to torque down the axle nut. So what I did here, I just took a flathead, you know, regular flathead. You can stick it in between the rotor like that. So when I spin this down, it'll hold it in place. So the torque spec is 202 foot-pounds. 202 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque this side, and then the right side. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing with the right side. So now obviously the flathead's gonna be up top because you're gonna spin this way now to tighten it. So again, 202 foot-pounds also. Okay, so it's torqued down now. The last thing I want to do grab a chisel and hit this part down to almost so that it's sitting on the groove. So I'm gonna stake this right here so that this axle nut won't come and loosen by itself, because it will have that little lip that's inside that groove. I'll show you what I mean when I'm done. You just need a chisel and a little hammer, just like that. So it's staked into place now. The axle shouldn't back off by itself. So this is the left side and here's the right side. So you just want to put it up and down, and then it's easier to, you know, tap it with a chisel. But there you go. Okay, that's done, guys. The only thing left for me to do is put the cover back on underneath, put the tires back on, then I can work on the rear shocks. So cover's back in. So clip right here and a clip right here, and then 2/10 and a clip, and then 4/8 on the front. Same thing on this side, 2/10 and a clip. All right, 10 right there, 10 right there, and a 10 right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna work on the back rear shocks. So what I need to do, loosen those 2 nuts up top over there, probably be a 12, and then loosen this one right here. So at the same time, I'm gonna support it right here so this doesn't drop too much. So just like that, just support it right here so you know it doesn't drop down too much. So now I can remove this 17mm bolt, and ta-da! So that was a 12mm bolt nut, 2 of them. So now I gotta separate this from the vise and put the new shock in there. Here, guys, the top part of the shock, I pinched it against the vise, and the nut there is 13. So just like that, and then just, you know, try to loosen it. Oh, so that didn't work. Plan B now. Since I'm gonna be replacing the shock anyways, I'm gonna have to hold it right here and try to loosen that nut. Just gonna hit it with an impact or you know, a gun. So right there, put it in the vise, and this should just come off hopefully. There it should be. So the reason I'm doing this is I need this upper part. So now I can take this whole piece, obviously the cover, and swap them over. I'll show you what it looks like after. So that's what it looks like. Just take this cover right off and slide it to the new one. Just like that. And then it comes with a new nut also. So now I'm gonna have to put this. So now you gotta take this one and slide it in, and put the nut on top. So there you go. Now the nut is in place. I sort of hit it with a gun first, so now it's just sitting there. Now I'm gonna. This is 12mm now. I'll put my wrench there, just wedge it here, and just snug it down a little bit, making sure not to break the stab off, and we should be good. So just like that. Now I'm just gonna give this a little snug. And that should be good. I can put it back in the car. So it'll just like this. Obviously this part was on the outside because you could see that was the back side. So now just gonna line them up, line it in the holes, And we can do the other side, same thing right there. So you want to line up the top first. Once they're like that, then you want to line up the bottom like just like that. So I'm gonna suck this in, tighten this in, and then put the two 12s up top, and that should be good. Here's the left side. So there's no left or right on these rear shocks. Guys, out with the old and in with the new. The wheels are back on. I'm gonna take it for a road test. The suspension should feel a lot better now. Guys, I'll show you guys quickly what this Mazda 5 2012 looks like. Pretty clean looking minivan. Alright, so that's what it looks like, guys. Make a shout out to Ken. Please continue to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.
Yeah.